Hey there, and thank you for tuning in and downloading another episode of Considering the Source. This is going to be the beginning of my next interview, and this is one I did with a friend of mine, Jeff Henson. Now, I came to know Jeff as I knew his brother. We used to go to church together, and then Jeff actually bought a house in my neighborhood, and so he was just a few doors down. And I can remember him walking by, and I put some pictures of Jeff on along with this video here, and you can see he had this long hair, and I thought, now this dude looks cool. Like this guy, he's confident. He's self-confident, and Jeff really is. What I'll tell you right now is I doubt there's really any topic out there that exists that Jeff doesn't have an opinion on. And what I'll also say is I don't mean that as if he's just having an opinion to have one. Like he's an intellectual guy. He thinks these things through, and so he doesn't mind at all sharing his opinions. And so during this episode, I think you're going to be able to start seeing where that came from, where these opinions really did stem. In the next hour or so, in this part of our conversation, Jeff and I talk about stuff from some mail fraud that he did early in his life. We talk about pornography. We talk about comics, because Jeff is a big comic guru. And I'm telling you right now, I only scratched the surface. Only scratched the surface when it comes to his knowledge and his experience with comics. It's incredible. We also talk about his high school sweetheart, who is now his wife. We talk about some of the things that they went through in high school. And yeah, you're definitely going to hear what Jeff's take of high school is, and it's pretty interesting. We talk about his Facebook friends. Now, you might think this is funny, but I'm friends on Facebook with Jeff. And so I've seen over the years or so, people just really go at him and drop him as a friend entirely. So we talk about that a little bit, as to find out, how he feels about that, and has he changed as time has gone by, or is he still sharing his opinions in any way that he sees fit. We talk about liberals and conservatives. What are each group missing? What are they? How do they come to their conclusions? What's your opinion on that, Jeff? We talk about that. We also talk about his first concert, which was crazy. His first concert, in which Jeff is going to tell you he thought he was going to die. So it's a pretty interesting story to hear about. And we also talk about one of my first concerts and an epiphany that I came to during that concert. So sit back. This podcast is going to be about an hour and 10 minutes or so. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Please remember, don't focus on some of the language or the opinions that people share. Try to be above that. Try to be better than that. Try to just go ahead and focus on the person that's behind the words that they use. Try to understand what it is that's driving them to maybe talk the way they do, or to share the experiences that they're experiencing. Don't get caught up in verbiage, all right? So I hope you guys enjoy this, and if you do, I'd love to ask you to do this for me. Please send in any questions or comments. There's a few ways you can do that. The first way is if you're looking at our stuff on consideringthesource.com, above each podcast you'll see an area there where you can go ahead and you can comment. Now, if you're listening to us as you downloaded this from iTunes, your best bet might be to either go to our website, consideringthesource.com, or you can also send comments to consideringthesource@gmail.com. Both those are available, and I'm just ready and looking forward to answering any kind of questions that you might have. And I'll tell you this, Jeff is a person that I'm going to be interviewing more than one time. So any questions that you have, or something you'd like to say or hear him talk about, please go ahead and send an email. I will definitely go ahead and present that to him, because I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a Jeff Part 2. And what I will say is, this interview that I sat down with Jeff for took us about 3 hours. So I'm going to start putting these up week by week. What? I know. I initially only wanted to do bi-weekly, but I'm going to be here forever if I do that. So what I'm going to start doing is putting these up like probably every Friday. This one's going to go up on a Saturday, but I'm going to start putting them up every Friday. And Jeff's is going to be 2 parts. From now on, that's probably what we're going to be looking at, guys. So I hope you guys are cool with that. And what I'm saying to you ultimately is, there's going to be another interview that I have with Jeff at some point in time. So you guys could really drive that by sending me in any questions or comments you have. And I'll go on to say that that's not just for Jeff, but any of my any of the my friends that or the people that I'm interviewing, if you have a question or comment, please submit that. I would really love to hear from you. So, without any further ado, I present to you my interview with my friend and yours, Jeff Henson. I stopped on the way over here today, and because I thought I've got to get this guy some root beer. That's the least I can do. So I go in, and you've got to be able to go along with me on this. But socially, when I ask you how you doing, socially you need to understand what I'm asking, and I'm not asking how are you. I'm not asking how are you. I'm not asking how are you. So don't answer me. So your answer needs to be, I'm fine. So I go in and I go up to pay for the root beer. How you doing? I'm good. All right, we're on track. Good. And then it happened. He's like, well, not really. And then I'm like, oh crap. Here.
Nobody wants to hear that shit.
Nobody wants to hear that.
No, absolutely not. Nobody wants to hear your pity party life story.
They really don't. They really don't. And
they don't really want to know how you are. They're just it's just what society tells you to say. It's kind of like, one of my biggest pet peeves is people coming in, in the morning at work, and they'll say morning, and I say, you're yeah, it is the fucking morning. Yes, it is. Stating. Yeah, you're not saying good morning. You're not saying have a good morning. You're not saying how is your morning. You're just saying morning. Yes, I know it's friggin' morning. You don't walk around going afternoon, evening, bedtime. No.
6 o'clock.
Yeah, 6 o'clock. It's whatever. It's time to take a dump. Whatever.
Right.
No. I know it's a morning. Are you going to say it's a good morning, a bad morning, whatever? I mean, usually mornings are bad, so just say bad morning.
Yeah. Or
don't say anything at all. Just go ugh.
That would be
kind of grunt.
Yeah. So this guy goes on to start telling me about, it's been a bad week. I'm buying 2 root beers. That's all I'm here for. I want to get these 2 root beers and get out of this store. My car's running.
Right.
I know, and there's a guy behind me in line. So now he's listening, and so finally he's like, yeah, it was a bad week. And I see like scratches in his head, and I'm envisioning like he was in a car accident. He's been in a coma, but now he's got his jog back at Circle K. So I bite. I bite. What happened? I say, oh.
Right there. Why'd you do
that? Why? Did I? Yes. And so I go, I was sick. And then and literally now I've paid. I have my receipt. The guy behind me is now moving up in line. I'm trying to walk away, and he's still rattling on. I had some nasal dripping. Yeah. And
so this was at the Circle K?
Circle K.
Of course. It's a bad morning right there when you're working at the Circle K. No offense to anybody that works at Circle K.
No.
It just sucks, Hey, it's not people don't aspire to go.
Right, unless it's like a second job.
Sure. That's cool.
Right. Yeah. Now that person I actually suddenly respect.
I used to work with a guy who had to pay child support, and he worked first shift during the day with me at a restaurant, and then he would go home and he would try to eat real quick, and he went to college for a couple hours a night. Then he had another job where he worked like 12 to 8 at Dairy Mart. That's how far long ago this was. Dairy Mart, not Circle K.
Mm-hmm.
And he would sit in the back, have his head right by the little bell that goes off when you'd open the door. Yeah, so when everybody would open the door, then he would get woken up and he would go out and he would stumble out there because he'd be all freaking groggy and everything. And I don't know how people survive.
Did he ever get robbed?
No, he never got robbed.
I'm always wanting to hear a story about somebody getting robbed. Like, what were they feeling?
No, he never got robbed. The only thing that I kind of robbed him with, the one thing with my buddy did, I forget what he did. He screwed me over somehow. Just, I don't know. Not bad.
This
like
guy?
A joke. No, not him.
Oh, okay.
Somebody else. As like a joke, he did something to me. So I went there at, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but it's kind of like mail fraud, but it's 20 years ago. So so I asked him if I could get all the magazines behind the counter. That's how old this is. He had a Swank and all this high society.
I mean, I've heard of them.
Oh, you've heard of them?
Yes, I've heard of them.
You've seen those, yes. Behind the counter in black wrap, not under your mattress. But so I got all of those, and I got all the little flippy cards in there for subscriptions, and I filled out this guy's name and address, and I sent them all in. So he started getting all of these magazines, and he had to write to them, and after he started getting all these notices that it's due to pay and all this stuff, and because they just had the little box bill me later.
Yes.
Well, that's just certain death for anybody that is a victim of something like this. So
that's the best thing ever.
So yeah. So he had to write these whole big long letters to these companies saying that he didn't order all this stuff.
Now, did he know it was you?
Eventually, I told him.
And his reaction was?
He was pretty pissed off. Yeah, but what are you going to do? I think I told him like a year later, so he, the anger had subsided.
That's fantastic. Did you? So you mentioned magazines underneath your mattress. Did you ever have magazines under your mattress when you were growing up?
No, I didn't. My dad had magazines, so
Okay.
I would sneak in there and find them, but I never took them or anything like that. But I might have. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was so long ago, but maybe I did.
I did. I definitely had them under mattress, and then I would try to find. And I found really unique places to hide them. Like I would in the ductwork. Like
wow, you're like a drug dealer. Or something.
Yeah.
Oh
It was a real.
Yeah,
I mean,
wow.
My porn was really important to me.
Sure.
So
was this all straight porn?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The gay porn I really hid. Really,
Right.
it's in the closet. Obviously.
Oh, for sure.
But so like right now for my listeners, I'm here with, as you probably already figured out, this is with my buddy Jeff Henson, and we're in his comic room. We're in his comic room, and so literally we're surrounded by comics. And if he's okay with it, maybe I'll take a picture later just so you guys can see it.
Absolutely.
But like that ductwork, I'm pointing into his bedroom, into this room here. There's a ductwork, and so I would actually pull that out and stuff all the porn. Now, why? Because my parents did find it.
Oh.
Right? And
Wow, was your dad looking for porn too?
no.
Okay.
My dad was really straight shooter.
That's what they all say. But,
Well, okay, so
no offense. I mean, I know you don't like to think about that, but
Yeah.
Parents are kinky too.
yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
I mean,
Now, see, here's a story my dad told me, because when we had, I'll tell you a couple stories. So, my dad, when he was young, he too hid some kind of girly magazines underneath his mattress.
Okay.
All right. And what I'm about to tell you is the greatest way that a parent has ever dealt with this issue. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you right now. So apparently, so he had it under there. So my grandmother, Joanne Roark, she goes in and she's cleaning the room and she's changing the mattress and everything, or the sheets, and she finds it. All right.
okay.
So she's bothered by it. So what does
Okay.
she do? Okay, here's what she does. Here's what I'll tell you.
Wait, hold on. What ethnicity are you?
I'm a white guy.
Are you? I mean, oh my God, now it all becomes clear. Well, I mean, was she like hardcore old school Italian?
Oh no.
Polish or something like that? Was she-
You
You don't get this pornography in my household.
nothing like that. No, she was just a good Southern mother.
Oh, okay.
All right, so down like Chattanooga, Tennessee, and so next time my dad comes in, he pulls the magazine out and he opens it up, and my grandmother had went into like a JCPenney catalog and cut out clothes and taped it all over.
Really?
She never has to say a word to him. Because the most damaging thing is like now he's looking at pornography that his mother has looked at.
Right.
There's not. Listen.
And then how do you broach that subject with her? Like, Mom, who the hell did this to my porn?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So it's just perfect. Now my struggles with pornography, and I do say the word struggle because it's.
Because you're a guy and you like.
I'm a guy.
Boobs.
Yeah, and
Sure.
in my heart of heart, I find the female body very, very attractive.
Okay. God, another thing we have in common.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God, this is crazy.
So
Next thing you're going to tell me you like money.
I do.
Oh my God!
I am a
we're
fan
like
of money.
kindred spirit brothers.
But the worst thing ever was my friend Raji and I. We got a hold of this number, a phone number that you could call, and it was just recorded phone sex. Where
What year is this?
This is probably 1984, 1985.
Okay. All right.
It's a long time ago.
Okay.
And so we would call this up and listen to it, and it's just like, hey there. And she's just telling you this whole sexy story, and you're just standing there like...
And this was free?
No.
Oh.
Hence the problem.
Oh, shit.
So here you are, you're like 15 or
Okay,
16, and you're just standing there with a friend, which is the craziest thing, is that you're getting turned on, but you're here with this other guy. And
Right.
it's the most erotic thing, like as a 15 or 16-year-old, you'd ever heard. but I couldn't keep it to myself. I start telling friends around the neighborhood, "You've got to come hear this." And so they're, of course, they're lining up, and so they're coming over to the house. The bill comes in. The bill comes in, and if memory serves, it's like $600. $600.
So your mom realizes that putting the clothes on the women wasn't exactly the best way to cover up pornography.
So my dad immediately says, he comes to my sister and I. He's like, "Who did this?" Of course, not
sister
me.
Did it. Sure,
yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not me. Okay, he believes me. He calls the phone company and begins to berate her because these charges were not from us, until finally, like, she breaks through to him and says, "Mr. Roark, the calls came from your house."
It's like that horror story, the call is coming from inside the house.
And immediately,
get out of the house.
Yeah, and immediately he said, "I knew it was Scott." And so I lost all kind of stuff. I had to do all kind of chores.
Right.
So yeah, it's not always been a positive experience with porn. But anyway, so Jeff, we're here and surrounded by all these comics.
Yeah.
Why aren't you going to go to the Cleveland Comic Con that's happening this weekend?
Oh,
why
good Lord.
or are you going to go?
Story.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to go.
Okay, and why?
Okay, because it's a Wizard World show, which means Wizard World is kind of like the Walmart of comic shows. Okay, Scott and I, for all the people listening, Scott and I went to a show last year in Detroit, and it's an independent show. These guys have been doing this for 25 years, and they get really cool, unique guests in there that don't do all other shows, and that type of thing. And it's pretty much half comics, half celebrities, pop culture. They're really pop culture cons anymore. They're not comic cons. Comic cons can't be really supported. There's not that big of a comic audience anymore. There really isn't. Not in America anyway. I mean, in Japan, it's a completely different story. Japan, it's very normal to see. You see people reading the newspaper on the subway. It's very normal to see grown men reading comic books on the subway in Japan.
And these are virgin men, I presume.
Probably.
Okay.
Well, yeah, most likely. I mean, they're Japanese, for God's sakes. I mean, but.
Autocorrect. He didn't really say that. It just autocorrected what he said.
Yeah, I meant Asian.
Yes.
So, and again, with this show in Cleveland, it's kind of a weird situation where there's never been a comic show, a big comic show in Cleveland.
Right.
I've always said I traveled to Pittsburgh, to Columbus, to Detroit, to Indianapolis for shows, and the Cleveland market really isn't a big market. There isn't a comic store in Brunswick. There isn't a comic store in Medina County. The closest one to us here is Ground Zero in Strongsville. There's a few around. Excuse me. And
I've been to the one in Parma. I think it's like L&M.
B&L.
Oh, B&L. That's it.
Yeah, right down from North Coast.
Yeah, there's a guy named Larry there.
Yeah, there's a couple there. There's one by where we used to live in Parma, York Comics, right at the corner of York and Pleasant Valley. Yeah, I mean but they're just those shops just kind of barely survive. There's like a couple people. The guy who does North Coast, who owns North Coast, he does shows and a lot, and he deals in a lot of Silver Age, Golden Age stuff, and that's where the money is. I mean, and he's not even doing the Wizard show here, because Wizard shows it's all about raping you for as much money as possible. That's all it is. They're very expensive. The people that they get in are very expensive. Like, William Shatner, $80 for an autograph.
Is he the biggest whore in the comic industry?
Pretty much, yeah. See, and the thing is, William Shatner, though, I kind of get him, as far as he has written comic books. He wrote some Star Trek ones. Tech
really?
World, yeah. And I've never read them, but he wrote them. He was in Twilight Zone. He was in he was in, obviously,
T.J.
Star
Hooker.
Trek. T.J. Hooker.
Right.
Priceline commercials. Fuck.
Yes.
What hasn't he done?
Right.
And my God, I hope I look that good when I'm 80.
Sure. Sure.
But
do you think he's had work done?
Hair work, definitely hair work, without a doubt. But he doesn't look plastic though, like a lot.
No,
of
he
people,
doesn't.
You know what I mean?
Like when I saw Paul Simon at the 40th, the SNL 40th,
Yeah.
him and Paul McCartney, like, oh, gee, it's uncomfortable. Yeah, it looks really. Something's been done.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah. But I also like Shatner on Boston. Was it Boston Legal or what was the?
I think that was Boston Legal. Yes.
And then him and
Heather Locklear, wasn't it, or was that? Am I thinking of something else?
The Boston Legal's with James Spader.
I'm thinking with T.J. Hooker, wasn't
that? Was T.J. Hooker with Heather Locklear. Yeah. All right, so
anyway, the show is it's you keep hearing these things on the radio about meet your favorite stars from Walking Dead, from Star Trek, from Lord of the Rings, and all this stuff. They never once mention anybody, any comic artist, any comic writer,
right.
Anybody there. I have no problem with introduce a lot of real comic nerds, which I consider myself a comic nerd, but I'm not like a comic nerd that lives in my mom's basement. I'm a comic nerd who's,
lives in your wife's basement.
Lives in my wife's basement. Exactly. Right. It's a completely different story.
Absolutely.
Shit, come on. So, and you got these people who, they go there and they first off, they just want to go to Comic-Con. They don't care about comic books. They don't care about any of this stuff. They just want to see people dressed up in costumes, which I get that. It's cool. But you know what? If that's all you're going to do, just stick your head out the window on Halloween and you'll see the same friggin' thing. It's cool. It's fun to see that and everything. But you know what? It's also destroying the industry, the convention industry, because people dress up in these costumes and they go there and they don't buy anything.
Right.
And the people who are going there to watch the people in the costumes who don't buy anything either.
Yeah.
And so Wizard World shows then, like this guy, the guy I know who does shows a lot, who's a dealer, the tables are too expensive for him. And so he doesn't even make the money. So and he deals in Silver Age and Golden Age stuff, which is very high ticket items. The only people that are really going to be making money there at a show like this are the people who are selling quarter comics. In the quarter bins and selling long boxes for $30 or something like that. And people might be, oh, okay, maybe I'll buy that. But there is nobody there who's going, oh, finally, I found that showcase number 4 I've been looking for, and it was only $5,000 or whatever. And they're not going to go there. They're not going there to spend big money.
It's incredible though that somebody's going to spend $5,000. If what you're saying, if I'm understanding you, $5,000 on a comic.
Yeah.
Now, when you read it the second time, does the story change or?
Oh my God, yeah! For $5,000, it blows you. I mean, come on. It should, right? It should, absolutely, yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, how many lap dances you get for $5,000? No, it's. I understand people don't get that.
Yeah.
It's a nostalgia factor and all that stuff.
But the reality is people spend a lot people understand. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I spent, the most I ever spent on a comic was, I spent $950 on a comic, and I spent it about 16 years ago.
What comic was this?
It was Amazing Fantasy 15. The first.
Do you still have it?
No, I don't. I sold it.
For how much? Did you make your money back?
I sold it for $2,800 10 years later.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, I made a couple grand. I should have kept it. It's one of those things. I just needed money.
Yeah.
And it was, I didn't, at the time we were in Parma, I didn't have a cool room like this to kind of display stuff. It was literally sitting in the closet for that long. And I'm like, what? It was neat. I owned it for 10 years. It's cool. But like you said, it's hard with this stuff because you don't want to put it on the wall because then the light starts to degrade it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a whole thing. I mean, I like the collectability of comics. I like collecting comics. I like reading comics more than anything. So, I mean,
this is like the comic Smithsonian.
Kind of. Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah.
Fonzie's jacket isn't here or anything like that, but
no.
I remember when I went to Smithsonian, I saw Fonzie's jacket.
Yeah.
And Archie Bunker's chair.
I saw that too. But, I was there this last year and I saw.
Oh, okay,
I was surprised when I saw. I don't remember seeing. I would have liked to have seen the jacket, but
no,
I didn't see it.
Oh man,
because I wanted to be him.
Another person, Henry Winkler, does comic shows sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And my point is that what relation does he have to comics?
None. No, you're right. You're right. It's yeah, you're right. It's all pop culture.
That's cool and everything. Call it a pop culture kind of.
It is.
That's all.
Now, so yeah, we went to Detroit, and because my whole goal, as you know, when I went to Detroit, was I wanted to meet Scott Wilson, who played Herschel on The Walking Dead, who is to this day like my heart I don't know that man.
Right.
But that character, I love.
Yeah, sure.
I genuinely love that character.
He felt like your grandpa.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
And so now, in turn, I project that onto Scott Wilson. Like, he clearly must be. Right. Now, granted, he was arrested for DUI.
Like Henry Winkler must be as cool as the Fonz.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, right.
I think his better role was, did you ever watch him on Arrested Development?
No, I know.
He plays a sleazy lawyer. It's hilarious.
Really?
Yeah. So, to all you listeners, if you ever listen to Arrested Development, watch Arrested Development. It's hilarious. It's the best writing of a comic show ever. Not comics like comic book, but a comedic show. So, how long? Do you remember when you first got into comics?
Oh, I sure do.
Okay, when was that?
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, I read comics a lot.
Okay.
I read G.I. Joe and Transformers and He-Man.
Uh-huh.
All the stuff. I still love that stuff. The 80s Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Except He-Man wasn't Saturday morning, but nonetheless. And then I got out of it because and I loved toys. I played with toys. I kind of feel like I'm on a psychiatrist's couch here.
Mm-hmm.
I played with toys until I was probably 13.
Mm. How long did you breastfeed?
Right.
So 13.
I stopped. Wait, what? So I mean, like 13, and the only reason I stopped was, I was like, fuck, this is, I'm starting to like chicks, and if I'm gonna be into chicks, I can't have fucking toys sitting around. I look like a dope.
Yeah.
So then I met my wife at like 15, and then we were obviously together, still are or whatever, and then together for a while, and then all of a sudden I realized, she liked the same stuff too, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm hopefully my parents aren't listening to this, or her parents, but so then we start banging and everything after a while, and I won't say how long, and then it's like, wow, I'm getting laid. So
and I still have my comics.
And I still, I didn't. I actually got rid of my comics, but I still had some toys. And I'm like, well, you know what? I not that I sit there and play with them like bang bang or whatever, any of that shit. But I got them out, and I have this Jetfire up there. That's one of my favorites. That's Transformer.
Yeah. And
I got that for Christmas when I was like 13 or something like that. And it's still badass. It's metal. It transforms. Oh fuck, it's awesome. And so then I'm like, well, I'm getting laid. I got a chick and everything. And I'm like, well, what do I have to lose, man? She likes this stuff too, So I got all my stuff out, and then I was going to my dad took me to a place in Strongsville, and it was he was all into buying gold at the time. He wanted to buy gold.
Yeah.
And I got some money somehow. I forget exactly. I guess I just had some money from working, because I was working by then. I think I was like 17, and my dad went into this place, and it was in Strongsville. It was like a coin shop, and we were just going to buy like gold bars. I don't know. Sometimes my dad gets into this whole like end of the world shit where you got to buy gold, and you got to whatever, have barrels of water and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so he was going to buy gold, and because he thought
how many guns does he have?
He actually has none.
What?
Yeah, isn't that weird? Yeah.
I'm going to go steal his gold now.
Right. I don't think he has a gold anymore. I don't know. I mean, he has hundreds of guns.
Sorry, Dad.
Yeah, right. So anyway, instead of going in there was a comic store right next to it, which is Ground Zero today, but it was owned by a different person. And I go, you know what? I'm going to go in there.
Uh-huh.
And I went in there, and I bought that one, Silver Surfer number 50, because of the cover. I thought it was so cool. It was like silver embossed.
Yeah.
It was just so cool looking, and I bought that, and I bought a few other things.
How much was that?
Oh, it's cover price. It was $1.50.
How much is it worth today?
Oh, it's like $10 maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
That's it. I mean, they're like stocks. Sometimes it at a time it was worth a lot, and now it's not worth much at all. So it's one of those things you got to know when to buy, when to sell, all that stuff. But if you really want to get into that, so I don't know. Ever since then, I was just hooked. I was like, shit. I gotta. This is awesome. I bought. That's what else I bought. Amazing Spider-Man 350, because it was like a big anniversary edition.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I realized that I loved got back into my love of Spider-Man. I used to watch when I was little. Spider-Man's Amazing Friends, toys, all that shit. So then I started my hunt, and I was going to get a whole run of Amazing Spider-Man, which I still have not accomplished, but I have from 44 till now, which is like 700 something.
Is this something that comic nerds do a lot? Is that they're like a hunting for?
Oh yeah, that's the whole. That's part of that's 90% of the whole thing is the hunt. You go there and you got these people with these big long lists or whatever, and to see what they have, and they checking off numbers, and it's just all about the collectability of it. You want to get a full run of something.
It reminds me of there was a movie out a couple years ago with I think Steve Martin and Jack Black, where they're bird watchers, and they were also very, very competitive. Like they're going for like in 1 year they're going to try to spot all these one bird. So the thing is, I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's similar, just different. Everybody kind of has their own things. Whether it's golf, I'm trying. My goal is I want to shoot my age, or I want to shoot break this score. But everybody's got something. Hopefully, everybody has something that they're driving for. And comics is your thing. Yeah. Well,
yeah. I mean, comics is, I love reading comics, like I said, more than anything. And I wouldn't say that's necessarily my goal. I mean, just to, get the goal of obtaining a full run of something is a pretty low goal in life. But, my biggest, it's not something necessarily to be crazy proud of or anything, but,
and then once you had that whole run,
then you go on to something else.
Could you sell that?
Yeah, you could.
Would it have a big value?
It's yes and no. I mean, see, that's part of the thing too. Is some of this stuff anymore with internet, with eBay, basically.
Yeah.
You could buy full runs of things. Like Silver Surfer, I bought a full run of that. It was like 1 through 148. And I bought it for like less than $1 a book. So everybody thinks, oh, comics, man, I'm gonna start collecting comics and make a fortune. No, I mean, not on really any of the new stuff. I mean, the only thing that in the last 20 years at least that's come out that's worth something is like Walking Dead #1. And there's only like a few thousand of those printed, and it's probably around $1,000 book.
Is that right?
And it was one of those things I remember seeing it in previews. Previews is like a book that comes out, like the comic shops get those like 3 or 4 months beforehand, and you can like go through it. That's what's coming out in 3 or 4 months. And I saw it, I go, oh, I like zombies. You know what? I don't really, I don't go to comic shops much anymore. I get all my books trade paperback or hardcovers, like all this stuff. And so I was like, I'll just wait for the trade to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And
now you're kicking yourself.
Yeah, it could have cost
because you never know.
Could have been $1,000. Yeah, exactly.
You're rolling dice here.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact is that you could spend that. You could do that with 100 books, and they'd all be worth nothing.
Yeah.
So
I had a student a couple weeks ago who actually he or his wife knew Robert Kirkman.
Oh, really?
Growing up in Atlanta or wherever they were from. Maybe it was Kentucky. I can't remember. It was someplace down south. Yeah. But he said that they had said that he was always writing, and he was very, very poor, and he was always writing. He always had these stories in his head, and he was just always drawing pictures and stuff. That's one of those I would love to have seen that.
I'm happy for him. I mean, he did a lot of stuff. He did a lot of crappy stuff. In the comic industry and stuff. He did a comic called Battle Pope, which was okay, fine, it's weird, but I'm always. For the person who works hard, struggles, and, Brian Bendis, he's from Cleveland, and he's basically the whole mastermind behind Marvel now. I mean, he writes most of the stories, outlines everything, does all the major events, and...
Really?
Yep.
All right. So, I have some questions that I just want to ask you, and I want you to just tell me stories or tell me thoughts.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh, my God.
So... I think on Facebook the other day you were talking about you don't have a problem with the snow, when people who hate it you just tell them what?
Fucking move.
I want to move.
All right. Yeah. I know.
This really does suck, Jeff.
Why?
You have to acknowledge that it sucks.
It sucks driving in it. That's it. You know why?
Did you enjoy shoveling this morning?
No, but I snowblowed.
Did you enjoy that?
No, but I did it for you.
And I appreciate
that. Yeah, that's right.
And I appreciate
sure.
that. But
no, well, you know what? It's not that bad. And the thing is, I'll tell you why.
Do you go on as many walks as you do during the summer?
No, I don't. I do miss that. That's
okay.
I do go on a lot of walks. But I'll tell you why I like the winter and the snow. It's a very simple reason. Because obviously we're surrounded by books, right?
Yes.
So I like to read. I love to read.
Okay.
But when it's nice and sunny and bright and warm outside, I can't sit down and read.
Okay.
Because I feel like I'm a lazy shit, Just I can't do it. When it's 80 degrees outside or whatever, I feel like I need to take my daughter to the pool, or I need to go anymore. I feel I need to go shoot photographs or whatever. I can't just sit around when there's a blizzard outside. Fucking hell, there's nothing else to do. I might as well sit down and just read. I can't do that. I when it's nice outside, I don't read. I don't watch TV hardly ever.
Well, you're not committed.
Right, I'm definitely not committed to TV.
I set time aside every day. That's how committed I am.
Yeah, but don't you feel?
No, my kids will grow up. I have no problem with Harry Chapin and the Cats in the Cradle. Screw him. So the kid's gonna have his own family. Yeah. Hey, we're all good.
Well, we're talking the Father of the Year right now, people. And call in with
I always tell people, they go, where do you find the time? I ignore my children.
Yeah,
what do you mean, where do I find the time?
Yeah, let them look at their own porn.
What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Talk? Am I going to give you advice on life?
What are we going to do?
Google it!
Yeah.
That's what it's there for.
If you want to talk, kids, if you want to talk to your dad, come on his podcast.
Yeah, they ask. I'm like, no, what do you have to tell me?
You don't have any fucking life stories. You're going to tell me about,
what story?
About Sally having a crush on Johnny? And
I don't care to hear that.
Yeah, right.
So,
they can tell me about their dad's porn that they find sitting around the registers around the house.
All right. So Tyler and Cole are never listening to this podcast. Now,
well, that's 2 listeners down.
Yeah, 2 more. Yeah, okay. So we're down to 9 now. Right. So my question for you is this: when I posted. All right, when I kind of gave this hint, like this is who I'm going to be interviewing, and I'm serious. Like
I was like, wow, this guy sounds cool. But then I realized it was me.
But I'm like, okay, this person is very opinionated. Yeah. Love comics. That was probably the most significant to you. Mm-hmm. But when I talked about like having a real strong opinion, I was surprised, like actually how many of my Facebook friends gave me other people's names. So apparently what I'm finding is I'm actually friends with a lot of very, very strongly opinionated people. I am.
Well, I think we're friends with like 4 mutual people, so I didn't expect a whole bunch of people to go, oh, Jeff Henson. So, I mean.
But, so let me ask you this. So, in the time that I've known you, like, I've just wondered, like, how many Facebook friends you have lost. Like, because it's got to be a high number. And at some point in time, they said, yes, I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like you have leprosy.
And that's a funny thing, because up until like this last 6 months or so, it was pretty much my rule for literally years on there I never friended anybody. Simply, I don't want to be a dick or anything, but it's just simply because it's one of those things. I don't want to feel bad when, like I friended you, then I give my opinion and you don't like me, and then you unfriend me, and I don't know, I feel twice as bad. So, but you know what, I don't know, now at the point is I'm not quite as bad as I used to be.
What do you mean?
But as far as like
sharing your opinion,
getting people riled up, I guess. It's like, well, first off, I mean, part of the reason is I lost a lot at election time. When the election was going on, a couple years ago,
you lost a lot of friends.
Oh
then.
yeah, oh god, yeah.
Okay, do you remember exactly like why? What was the scenario?
Well, I know I was posting a lot of stuff. I'm a conservative guy, so I was posting a lot of stuff pro Romney, anti-Obama. And I understand. Hey, whatever. People like Obama. Hey, whatever. But
do you remember what you may have said that all of a sudden they were just backing off?
Trying to think. Everyone was kind of different. Mm-hmm. But
now, are you still friends with these people in real life?
That's a good question. I always like it when somebody says real life versus Facebook. Like Facebook isn't real, and it's true. I mean, I get it. I totally get it. I mean, there's the internet, and then there's real life. One person who unfriended me, I saw him at a concert later on, I don't know, a year or so later, and we had talked. I mean, it seemed like, a little bit awkward, but, whatever. He's a very big liberal, I'm very big conservative. But when you're somewhere like that and you have something mutual in common, hey, we both like this band, or we might both like this genre of music, it's not like I run around going, fuck Obama, and I love conservatism or anything, but it's like, it's one of those things, people always say, sure way to start an argument online is express two ways, two steps. Express your opinion, and then wait. Because somebody's going to get pissed off at you eventually about something. I know that one person got, a family member got really mad at me, and unfriended me, because I was, I'm not a fan of unions.
Okay.
And their spouse is a teacher.
Yep.
In a union, which, again, I know nothing against teachers. Teachers are great. Awesome. You know what? So are people who teach software. So are people who, scrub toilets. So are people who, run multi-million-dollar companies. Whatever. If you're trying and you're doing something, that's great and everything. But that's one of my, oh my God, that's one of my biggest fucking pet peeves is these people. You always see this, oh my God, thank God for teachers. If you can read, thank a teacher. No, fuck you. I'll thank my parents. My mom taught me how to read, not a fucking teacher. And you know what? Uh-huh. And that's great. Again, teachers are great, man. I had some cool teachers. I never had that one teacher where people were like, oh, they changed my life or anything. But, but whatever. If you do, hey, that's awesome. God bless you, man. But, you always see these memes about, thank God for teachers and thank God for nurses and thank God for moms and thank God, what about, let's just thank God for people who take care of their families. Mm-hmm. Well, let's thank God for people who just go to fucking work every day, who might go to a job that they may not like. They may like it. They may hate it, whatever. And they're doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
And just because you're a teacher or a nurse or a pipe fitter or whatever doesn't make you better than me. Doesn't make you worse than me. We're all in this together,
Yeah.
And, you may make more, I may make less, vice versa, whatever, all that stuff. But just because you're this magical teacher that touches the future and touches lives, that's great. That's awesome. But you know what? I also have another friend who unfriended me because we got into a teacher union thing. Okay. And she's a teacher. And she was just, she's going on and on about teachers need to be,
compensated?
Yeah, they need to be respected more and this and that. Mm. But in the same respect, she would say, hey, you knew what you were getting into when you got your job, and I knew what I was getting into. And because I'd always say, you have the summers off. And she'd say, well, that's part of my job. And, and she pretty much made no bones about it. That's part of the reason that she got into it. And you know what? Good for you. Right. That's awesome. And I'm glad to hear somebody say, hey, yeah, that's a great perk. Nothing burns me more than when teachers say, oh, well, I know my daughter is a teacher and she works all summer long. Fuck you. No, she doesn't. She's whatever. She's doing whatever. And that's fine. That's awesome. That's great. That's part of the job, whatever. Fine, but just don't act like, you're, working 10 hours a day all year long. Mm-hmm. That's all. Don't cut this out. I'm going to tell you this right now. Okay. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything bad about teachers because you have to sit there and bust that in people's heads because right. You're bashing teachers. No, I'm not bashing teachers. I'm not bashing union workers. I'll bash unions. But I won't bash union workers or teachers or whatever. And people, there's another thing. One person said, well, when you bash the unions, you're bashing the teachers because the teachers are the unions. No, I'll tell you what, when the teachers have a choice to join the union or not, then then you can say they are the union. But I know plenty of teachers who don't want to be in a union, who don't like a union. So, when you're forced to do that, yeah, that you're not part of that. I don't believe that the people of North Korea are communists.
Correct.
The government
Yeah.
is communist. The people of North Korea, I'm sure, are fine people. I'm sure they're great people.
Right.
But they are forced into being that. If they had a choice, they said, hey, you can either go to North Korea or South Korea. You can stay whichever you choose.
Yeah.
And then they stayed in North Korea. That makes them communists.
Gotcha.
So,
So when you met that family member who had the problem with your comments on the union,
yeah.
and they unfriended you,
Yeah. I haven't seen them since.
you've not seen them
No.
since. Are they avoiding you?
No. It's not like I saw them all the time.
Are you sure
It
they're
was-
not avoiding you?
No, I'm positive they're not avoiding. It's not like I only saw them at the most once a year, at the most,
Okay.
like at Christmas or whatever. And there was like the last couple Christmases we just haven't gotten together or whatever. And hey, maybe because of that, who knows? But
Yeah, I think that's it.
Whatever. No harm, no foul.
What's at the heart of, like, what do you think, like liberals, people who are more liberal in their politics, what do you think they misunderstand about you or about conservative politics? Where does...
Oh my God! Oh well, I always say that the difference between liberalism and conservatism is liberals think with their heart and conservatives think with their mind. And
Now, that you understand that can come off as very demeaning and very insulting.
I mean that in no way. I don't mean that to be, and obviously, I don't mean it to be demeaning in any way. The best scenario would be a mesh between those two.
Gotcha.
And I think that's where everybody says, I hate the two-party system. Well, the two-party system is good because it really is like that, and it's kind of a give and take of between both of those.
So you don't. So,
but
so you're against the Tea Party. That's what I'm hearing.
I
So you hate the Tea Party.
No, I don't hate the Tea Party. I'm actually more Tea Party than anything, but nonetheless, I don't mean that because you say that could be demeaning. It could be demeaning towards both sides. I could say that could mean that conservatives don't have a heart.
Yes, they're heartless.
And liberals don't have a mind. Mm-hmm. And both opposing people say that about each other. Okay. Liberals are just dumb and conservatives are just heartless.
Okay.
And I get that. I completely get where that comes from. I get how you can say that, how you can see that. Conservatism is, for instance, they want to cut food stamps. Say whatever, just whatever.
Yes.
They say they want to cut food stamps. Liberals say, well, you have no heart because there are people starving and you shouldn't be cutting food stamps. And then conservatives look at it with their mind and they go, well, who the fuck is paying for this? Who is going to pay for it?
Right.
And then they will say, well, it doesn't matter who's paying for it. People just need to eat. And then the conservatives say, well, they just need to find a job. And then the liberals say, well, you need to pay them more. And then and I see both sides. I truly do. But,
what makes you then more conservative? If you see both sides, what makes you then finally say, at the end of the day, I'm conservative, I'm not liberal? If you can see both sides.
Because I see that conservatism, I'd say that 10 times fast, works. Whereas in liberalism doesn't necessarily work. And I'll give you an example. Like, what I'm saying is I wasn't always like this. I really wasn't. But when I grew up, got out of the house, got on my own, me and my wife, and we worked hard. We went to our jobs every day. We worked hard. We did this, and I feel we've achieved the American dream. Mm-hmm. I think that's conservatism. You go, you work hard, and you do the best that you can, and you. I don't want to say fend for yourself because
make sacrifices.
Make sacrifices. That's a good one. Exactly. Make sacrifices because a lot of people today, and not all of them by no means, but a lot of liberals think that they're owed something, and they're not. Nobody's owed anything. Mm-hmm. The world sucks. Mm-hmm. If anybody tells you it's fair, they're lying to you. So and it's hard because it's growing up you can say that all you want, mm-hmm. but until you live it,
yeah.
I mean, I know plenty of people who are a lot better off than me. I know a lot of people that are a lot worse off than me, and it's not necessarily from lack of trying or anything, but for the most part, I find a lot of times that it is. I mean, I work with a lot of people who, at our job we have a lot of temporaries that come in, and I've worked at my job for 15 years now. Okay, and I've been late. I was just late the other day because of the roads. It was, oh God, it was so bad. I was 1 minute late. And we don't have a time clock or anything, so it doesn't, whatever. But, and before that I was late one time. So 2 times in 15 years. Okay. And we have other guys that come in who are late 3 times in a week. Mm-hmm. Their first week. Mm-hmm. And mind-boggling. And mind-boggling. And it's, and people don't get it. It's like, well, I'm coming. I'm there in the parking lot, or I'm there. And people are, I don't know.
What do you think that comes from? Where does that come from?
That's a question of the century, isn't it? I don't know. It's, I know people.
I feel stress. If I'm late.
Me too.
I actually feel stress.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm not really happy unless I'm where I'm supposed to be at least like 15 minutes ahead of time. When I rolled in here today, I rolled in here like at 5 till 10 because I knew I had to leave ahead of time. And so there are people that they don't think that way. They don't think that way. Like my friends have oftentimes referred to me as the time Nazi because time is something that is very important to me. And since I value time, I value in turn your time.
Right.
And I don't want to keep you longer than I would agree to, nor do I want you to keep me longer.
Right.
And so I really value time. And I see people that it does not appear that, and I guess, so Deanna does hair. Okay. My wife Deanna does hair, and
she does yours.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
God,
yes.
Right.
She's the one to thank or blame.
Go ahead.
So, it drives me crazy. And so those of you who are her customers, just hear what I'm saying right now. Like there's this thing that people are so short-sighted that they don't think that their time or their attention to time matters to anybody else. But like when somebody comes in and Deanna will have a schedule saying, all right, this person, I'm going to do their hair from 11 until 12:30, and then the next person is boom, boom, boom. Well, when you're running 15 to 20 minutes late, what do you think that does to everybody else? What do you think it does to their time? You don't think that they've already scheduled out and they've made plans, and it's like there's this view of,
it's just what I said, entitlement.
And there's this other thing that drives me crazy in our culture right now. And if you listen to commercials, you'll hear them say this all the time: because you deserve it.
Right.
And nothing drives me crazier. Like, what the hell? What do you mean? Why? Why does it? Because they're alive? Right. Because they can understand the words that are coming out of your mouth. That's why they deserve it. Like, you're born. Therefore, you deserve this. Right. That's such crap.
Oh, it's like the other day, my blood boiled at work. I heard this commercial about credit card debt. And if you have more than $5,000 in credit card debt, you have a right to get it erased by blah, 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 lawyer or whatever. Blah. You have a right. Mm-hmm. You have a right to not pay someone for something that you bought.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
And again, nothing wrong. If you have some debt or whatever, fine. But there's a difference between having debt to, buy, to pay for medical bills versus a debt to buy cigarettes.
Right. There's a household problem and you have to charge to fix the roof or something.
That's fine. That's legitimate. Yeah,
but absolutely. It's to buy the new bag or the new shoes or the new golf club.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, golf club, never mind.
Well,
you scratch that. I'm going to edit that out of there later.
Comic books. Yeah.
So here's what.
But real quick. But anyway, about the time, it's not necessarily just that time thing, because you can make it up or whatever and blah blah blah. We're somewhat lax at our place like that. If there's bad roads or something, they get it fine. But that's just a symptom, and it always. I'm telling you, it's always parlays into their work. If they're always late, they suck. They're the ones standing around with their hands in their pockets, not doing anything. They're the ones whining and bitching that they need this tool or that tool or whatever, blah, blah, and I can't do my job. I everybody's been doing their job for 20 fucking years with the same tools, but you need a special tool or whatever. It's high maintenance, man. They're late. There's always a problem. Our favorite line at work is, you got to understand.
Absolutely.
You got to understand. My grandma got
the excuse comes
hijacked by a busload full of penguins or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I don't have to understand. You have to understand that this is a fucking job.
Yep.
That you get paid for.
Yes.
You got to be there on time for 8 hours a day.
Right.
Simple as that.
It's like somewhere along the line, the whole concept of being responsible and taking ownership of things has kind of dissipated. It's kind of disappeared.
It has, and I posted something the other day, on Facebook about this. About, at what point do you blame a person's parents or do you blame them for just being a jack off?
Right.
And it's hard, because I get it. But I think that's part of where my thing stems from is, growing up, my dad, would work 10 hours a day, and he'd work on Saturdays too, like half a day, and 55 hours a day
right.
or a week. And that was all the time. He never called off. He never took.
He had a lot of gold he needed to buy. So
right, exactly, and guns, right. But it was just, it's one of those things, like, growing up, it was always one of those things you don't call off. I don't know. It was just one of those, it's just, that was just my environment. I can remember maybe twice my mom ever calling off of work or something, like, for being sick. I don't ever remember my dad calling off of work.
It's funny that you say that, because now when I think about my dad, it's kind of the same thing. Like, I can remember my father being sick. Mm-hmm. But my dad, because my mother never worked and she never wanted to work. Okay. And so my dad would work at 2 or 3 jobs.
I don't want to work either. So.
Yeah. I want to take that train too. You're right. You're right, Mom. That sounds great.
Yeah. Now, sure does, Deanna.
Meanwhile,
edit that out.
Meanwhile, your father's having strokes because he's working so much. There's never a family vacation, but I really don't want to work. Sorry. So now I'm on the couch. Right. Now I'm on the couch.
See?
And by the way, I breastfed till I was 16.
I told Becky I was going to switch this on you. I'm going to start interviewing you.
I'd be perfectly fine with that. I have so many things I want to say. All right, so let's hear some stories.
Okay.
All right. So I sent you some topics earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of those?
Some, but I need like one was a childhood story. Oh, I need more specifics. All
right. Well, were you ever bullied?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Tell me about that. Tell me a story when you were bullied. And I'll share one with you too.
I'm gonna start crying and shit.
Because today there's this whole movement.
Yeah.
About bullying.
Sure.
And
are you bullying me right now?
I'm not.
You're looking pretty bullyish.
Well,
bullish.
170 pounds of pure bully sitting right here.
I got you 20 pounds.
Yeah, but but like there's this, and what afraid. Listen, I'm not for bullying. As a person who was bullied, it was terrifying, and it affected me to this day.
Yeah.
But what I see us do as a culture is oftentimes. Now we're just going to start adding a whole bunch. Now that's bullying. Now that's bullying too. Right. And I'm like, all right, now we're getting out of control. Yeah, right. The person's just asking you what you want to eat. Sternly.
They don't open the door for you. That's bullying or whatever. Yeah.
So tell me when you were bullied as a kid.
Well, I when I grew up, I was born a poor black child.
Of course.
And my parents just found me on the doorstep. Oh wait, that was the jerk.
Yeah.
No, it was growing up in the neighborhood, I was like the youngest one.
Okay. So
I can't really necessarily think of a specific time necessarily. I probably could, but it's everybody was just older than me.
Okay.
So I was the easy one to pick on, and I get that. Hey, whatever. I was whatever.
Did it help or hinder you?
Personally, I think it helped me because. I think that's why I'm kind of more outspoken, and I kind of I think it. Oh my God! If you want to get really deep here, I think that's why I am maybe kind of the first to I'm more outspoken and more non-shy type of sometimes because I want to get it out there and.
You want to be spoken. You want to be heard.
Yeah, I want to be heard. Yeah, I figured if it's kind of one of those things that if I'm the first one heard, or if I'm the if I'm orchestrating the show, then nobody's gonna pick on me, maybe, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I was always, when I was younger, I was kind of more quiet, I guess.
What did the bullying that you received look like?
Fistful of hates, man. No, what do you mean? What do you mean? What did it
Like,
look
were you getting beat up? Were they just mocking you in your hair?
No, yeah, I got beat up a couple times.
Like, how bad?
Not real bad or anything. No, nothing like that. But
did anyone?
Yeah, I was made fun of because of my hair for a long time. I mean, obviously, I still,
did you always have the long hair?
Yeah. In the beginning, I had long hair. Like I had in like kindergarten. I was born with problems with my ears.
Okay.
Really bad. And so when I was little, I would always have like infections and different things or whatever, and they would always be draining.
Yeah.
And I'd wear cotton balls in my ears.
Okay.
To like, suck up
to
the pus or whatever and everything. So that's why I always had my hair longer over my ears so you couldn't see that.
See,
so then
that right there, that's podcast gold. like we're getting into the depth of it. Like, so you actually were growing your hair just to cover the ears. Okay,
yeah,
right.
In the beginning, yeah. And I had gone.
And now it's because you want to look like Zakk Wylde.
Yeah,
is that
Zakk Wylde?
Is that the guy? Is that the guitarist? There's a guitarist named Zakk Wylde.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and he's probably he has way bigger muscles than I do. He's huge.
Yes.
But I've heard it all. Axl Rose, the keyboardist for Bon Jovi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see that? But I don't have a perm.
Yeah, you should do that.
Yeah, right. There you go. I'm playing keyboard. But and then as I got older, like in the 5th grade or so or whatever, I started growing it longer just because of the music that I listened to. I thought I was badass because I listened to Twisted Sister and Dio and whatever and everything that my older brother was listening to, so.
All right, so you do like what's the best concert you've ever been to? And if there's a few, give me a few. What are the best concerts that you've ever been to? Henson, I get it.
Well, besides Henson,
right?
I mean, that's a given. Justin Bieber. I've been to my first concert was Slayer in 1988 at the Agora. My brother bought me a ticket for my 14th birthday. All
right, let's stop here.
Yeah.
So you're 14.
Yeah.
And you're going to go see Slayer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't like Slayer. Yeah. You're scared of Slayer.
They scare me.
Yeah.
They scare me. Now, am I right that they are professed Satanists?
That'd be wrong.
Are you sure? Because in one of my Sunday school classes, the teacher told us that Slayer.
Oh, well,
I'm
shit.
Kidding.
I mean, the Sunday school, they got to be correct, right?
I'm kidding. I saw a youth pastor gave me a DVD that there's backmasking in every Slayer. Now, listen.
Sure.
Now, being said, when I look at some of the Slayer lyrics or the titles or the artwork, it doesn't exactly look like Pat Boone. It looks pretty out there.
What about Pat Benatar?
Not even Pat Benatar. They even scare her.
Neither Pat. Well,
because I will Wikipedia this, but I could have sworn.
Okay, I'm going to tell you something, though.
Okay.
Sometimes, I know this might come as a shock to you and your listeners. Sometimes people do things for shock value.
True. Like Motley Crue.
Sure. Yeah.
The whole
They're fucking Satanists, man.
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Why? Because you like Motley Crue?
I did. I love Motley Crue.
You'd be able to come to terms.
Yes.
You couldn't come to terms with it if they were.
Yeah. No. So I will refuse to believe that is true. But yeah, I think they definitely did that for show. So you think Slayer is kind of the same way?
So, yeah, Slayer.
What about Marilyn Manson?
Yeah, I've heard things about Manson that Manson's parents his dad is a pastor. Do you know that?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you don't think he's really a Satanist?
No.
You'd trust your daughter to spend the night at his house?
I wouldn't. No, I didn't think Michael Jackson was a Satanist, but I wouldn't trust my daughter to spend the night there either, even when he was alive. So I mean, maybe now at Neverland Ranch, but not then. But it's about going against the grain of society.
Is that one reason that you like Slayer?
Well, not that. I mean, that's why Slayer does that. They they kind of do what I do. That they
Push
poke and push buttons and that type of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Were you scared at all during the show?
Yes, absolutely. I was. It's funny you say that because I was. I'm not kidding you when I say I was never more scared in my life. Because I was right in the middle of the pit. I'd never been to a concert before. Never been to a pit, anything, and I couldn't get out. I mean, it was packed. It was absolutely packed.
And your brother's there with you?
Yeah, he was there with me, but he was somewhere else, whatever. I mean, you get
He
separated.
leaves you.
He didn't leave me, but I mean, we got separated. We're all there. There's just swarms of bodies going there. I mean, this isn't that shit you listen to like Dave Matthews or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's actual, there's all kinds of crap going on.
Like what kind of crap going on?
Well, I mean, just flailing bodies and elbows and assholes and, that type of thing.
Yes.
And I literally could not get out. I mean, oh my God, that first song, I'll never forget it. They opened the South of Heaven and, it's another, Satan.
Yes.
And, I couldn't get out of yeah.
And you were afraid?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was scared.
Did you think at all, I might die tonight?
Yes. I actually thought because it was hot. It's sweaty. It's it was just chaos or the people jumping on all this stuff, and it was just crazy. And that was just during the first song. Then after the first song. It somewhat calmed down a little bit, where I got out and I'm like, oh my God, this is great. And then I was going in and out as I please and everything. And then I was hooked. And I mean, and I was,
Okay, but the first song, that was when you were terrified.
Yes, absolutely.
And then it subsided.
Yes.
So let me tell you about my first concert.
Okay.
It's probably 1983, 1984.
Leif Garrett.
No.
Oh
no.
my God.
I never would have saw him.
Devo.
No. Rat.
Really?
I saw Rat.
83?
Yeah.
Where at?
This is in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay.
At the UTC Roundhouse. And
you can never get cornered in the Roundhouse.
No, you can't.
Right.
The Queensryche opened for them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
I hate Queensryche.
I wasn't a fan either.
Okay.
I just wanted...
My buddy loves Queensryche.
Well, your buddy's... Something's wrong with
Yeah,
buddy.
I hear you.
So, Silent Lucidity is a good song.
Okay.
But it's not like a really rock song. Anyway... So my first concert is Rat, and I begged my mom to go because that's who I listened to, and I knew every member of that band.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you a long story here.
Okay.
All right. So I went to see this band. I remember it was
name of the people in the band.
Okay, your lead singer is Stephen Pearcy.
Right.
Then you had Robin Crosby, who's no longer with us. He played, I believe, like rhythm guitar.
Right.
Then you had Warren DeMartini on lead guitar. You had Bobby Blotzer on the drums, and Juan Crozier played the bass.
Wow, very good.
Yeah.
What did Robin Crosby die of?
AIDS.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So, anyway, so I go to see them.
Who was in the Round and Round video?
Milton Berle.
Wow, yes. Awesome. All right,
who was their manager's uncle. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's how they got him in there. Yeah.
Milton Berle supposedly had the hugest dick in Hollywood.
I had heard that as well.
I don't know that.
That and Don Johnson.
Really?
Yes.
Ironically.
Don Johnson and
Johnson.
And he when somebody asked him about it, he informed them that actually Dennis Johnson, a guard for the Boston Celtics, put everyone to shame.
Really?
So Google that sometime.
Yeah,
anyway.
So that was the top three. So then guess who's the fourth? Me.
You?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. That was just a humidifier bubble.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, I go to see Rat, 1980 something down there in Chattanooga.
Okay.
All right. Fast forward now to early to mid 90s, and I've now moved to Cleveland.
Okay.
All right. So I'm probably 16 or 17 when I first see them. 10 so years later, I'm 27, let's say, and Rat is going to come to town.
Okay.
Rat's coming back. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Rat and Roll.
Rat and Roll, baby.
Sure, yeah.
And they had just released that album, I think it was called Detonator. And it was a really, really good album, When I went and saw them, it was, I think, the Body Talk album.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, Lay It Down had already been released. I loved Rat.
That's a great album.
Yeah. So here, the Detonator came out. It was a fantastic album from beginning to end, and now they're going to come to Cleveland. I'm going. I am going to go.
When was this?
This was early 90s, 90-something. And they played, I think it was
the Odeon?
The Odeon. Don't tell me you were there.
I was there, dude. I was there.
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
All right, so
because don't tell LA Guns.
Yes, LA Guns opened for them. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I didn't know you at that point in time.
No,
this
right.
is fantastic that we are both there. All right. Yeah. I was the guy by himself.
This is also podcast gold.
Yeah. I was there by myself because I couldn't find anybody to go. Couldn't find a girlfriend to go. Couldn't find a friend from work to go. No one would go with me. So I don't know if you saw this, but this is what happened that night. All right. I tell people this. This was I had this epiphany that night. So Dude, I was there early because I was reliving 1980 something. I was reliving it. So I'm there early, and I'm at the very front. Jeff, there's nothing between me and the stage but like that metal bar or whatever. I'm there. I sit up there for LA Guns. When the LA Guns came out, it was fine. I didn't follow LA Guns, didn't know anything about it. Okay. They did a cover, I think, of Van Halen's Unchained. Or something about you. Talking about love.
Or Talking About Love. That's what.
And it was
Talking About Love.
Yeah, it was a fantastic cover.
It's funny you say that because I don't remember very many things about certain. I remember that.
Yeah, but with that cover, it's like it was great.
The whole crowd was into it.
Yeah. So they get off, and now here comes Rat. All right, and I will tell you right now, I cannot remember the name of the bass player that replaced Juan Crozier, but he was a cool guy. Like, he was interacting with the crowd. Okay. And then you have Stephen Pearcy. This son of a bitch. Okay, listen, dude. I'm reliving my youth. I watched every Rat video. I knew every lyric. Okay, and I love this band. Yeah. And so here I am. I'm 20-something years old. And I'm by myself at this show. I'm at the front. Only people behind me is just you and Becky. That's it.
Right, sure. Yeah.
And he comes out. I'm so excited. I'm singing every song. And so here's what happens: is I keep reaching out like to get a hand smack. Give me a hand smack. And this guy starts doing that thing like when you're in high school and you try to give somebody a high five, and when you try to hit their hand, they just gotta put it through their hair like, "You miss me, sucker." He starts doing this. He starts. I mean, I am reaching out, like, touch my hand, Stephen Pearcy, please. Impart some gold to me, some wisdom, magic, whatever. And he keeps shying me intentionally. All right. Now this is where Stephen Pearcy actually gave me wisdom, because like if you could have videotaped that night, what you would have seen is you would have seen me kind of staring at him, and I just had this like euphoric moment, like, what the hell's wrong with you? And I'm kind of looking into nowhere, like what is going on? And literally, it's like the second or third song of the set, I turn around and just make my way through the 30 or 40 people that were there, go outside, get in my car, and drive home. Because I kept thinking,
really?
Yeah, I'm like, you're a 27-something-year-old man, and you're getting pissed that this dude will not touch your hand. Like, what is wrong with you? And so that night, I'm like, I just went home. And so what I like to think is that even then, Rat taught me something.
They did.
Even then, Stephen Pearcy gave me a life lesson.
I definitely can say I never got a life lesson from Rat.
Yeah.
But,
all right, so I hope you enjoyed part one of my my interview with Jeff Henson. I hope you got a couple good laughs there and enjoyed that. It was really a very, very fun interview to do. So be sure to tune in next Friday when we go ahead and download part two of my interview with Jeff. And don't forget, if you have any questions or comments, please submit those either through consideringthesource.com in the comment section or email us at consideringthesource@gmail.com. Have a great week, and remember,
everybody has a story.